Welcome to Your Life in Film. I'm your host, Ted Bennett. Joining me this week, Jack Carey. Jack is a writer, producer. He's done lots of work for the BBC, Channel 4, Sky. He's everywhere. He's a lovely bloke as well. Jack wrote the short film End of Days. I know Jack through Mark Evans. Mark did the soundtrack to both of our films. I got introduced to Jack that way. Jack's film End of Days stars Larry Dean. Larry is one of the new cast members of SNL UK. So we open up our conversation talking about that. As a filmmaker yourself, you're also aware that that thing of the accessibility of anyone can pick up their phone and make something. And it's like, that's excellent, but doesn't necessarily mean we should all be doing it. But it is also excellent. There are some people who couldn't have previously have afforded. The cost of entry was too high for them, and now all you need is your phone, and you can go and make your little stories come true. And even if just doing it for you and your friends is all you want, that's excellent. So it is difficult when it comes to things like the TikTok generation of comedy. And I saw an interesting thing that said that all these comedians, they've never worked a room before. They don't actually know how to work with an audience. So they start telling their jokes, they get heckled, and then they got nothing. They freeze. They can't handle it anymore. And you're like, yeah, you've really got to try it everywhere to really find out whether it works for you. But I don't know. I can't imagine they're going to blindly go into a UK SNL. I imagine they've thought about this.
Yeah, I think so. Is it interesting you say that? You know, I've heard horror stories as well of the kind of like from working with a few comedians as well as, there's this kind of snobbery, especially the kind of pre-TikTok generation, which is kind of like, they're not match fit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And
they're not real.
They're not real. They're not proper. But it's interesting, I think why I don't get too sort of depressed about stuff like this is that it's all a big ecosystem, and you inevitably see most of the people who break out on TikTok end up going to traditional media anyway, and it all kind of feeds into each other. It's as you said, it's great that everybody, it's a lot more meritocratic and egalitarian, but really everybody ends up doing the same things. Everyone ends up on Strictly. That's what I was thinking.
And if you end up on Strictly, you're fucking thankful that your career's taken you that far. I think as well, there's always been people who think they can do it, and then there's always been people who can do it. It's just that there's been fewer entry points. Now it just means that there's more people who are good who you just didn't experience before.
Yeah.
And hopefully that, blows up. I think what I found very interesting was that some TikTok people ended up working for Dropout, and then they went from Dropout to SNL. And you just think like, well, that's wonderful. That there's a path that they may never have gotten before, and they're good enough. If they weren't good enough, SNL wouldn't take them. I mean, whether SNL is still as good as it should be, it's its own thing.
Conversation, yeah.
Yeah, but it is interesting that they, like, you've got to have something to a mass audience to be put on Strictly.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter whether you can't perform to an audience in your TikToks and on stand-up. If you've got the thing that the TV wants to see, you've got the thing. So that's great.
Yeah, and
I wouldn't do Strictly.
you say that.
Oh, I take it in a heartbeat, mate. Watch me salsering in a week.
Shirley Palace, yeah.
So, what else have you been up to recently?
Oh, what have I been up to recently? That's a good question. I'm working at the moment. I'm producing a 3-part music documentary series for the BBC, which is
nice.
Very exciting. And then alongside that, just sort of chipping away at my next short. And this is kind of a sci-fi black comedy short film called Unmanned, which is about a drone operator who sort of strikes up a friendship with his AI-assisted drone, which is quite funny. It's quite Black Mirror. It's kind of a bit of an Odd Couple comedy as well.
Nice.
Yeah, so we're just...
That's interesting. I had a story a few years ago about a AI drone an artificial intelligence on a spaceship who got bored and woke up their passenger because they were bored and they wanted to hang out with someone. And I thought, like, that's like that's such a the idea of the AI just deciding like, oh, let's do something. Let's just do something.
Yeah.
I really like it. So, I hope you get yours off the ground. I'd like to see how that gets played out.
No, yeah, hopefully too. Is the whole conceit is that it's a suicide drone that gains sentience and doesn't want to die anymore. So
Nice.
I actually don't like killing people, and it's the whole moral quandary of like, is the drone operator, a killer? Is he not? It's all that sort of stuff. It's quite funny, and we've been really lucky that the drone is voiced by Matt Lucas, and he's already recorded all his lines, which is great. I mean, kind of amazing
nice.
as a Little Britain fan growing up as well. So we're sort of hurtling towards the kind of all the hard stuff now, which is all the real world production.
Oh, nice. That's interesting that you managed to get Matt Lucas before you'd filmed anything, because I know that you can usually get them if it's I just need to do a day in the sound booth. These are the lines, and you show them the film, and they're like, "Oh, I get it." And you managed to get them before. Was that through your BBC work before, or is that just cold calling him?
We're really lucky. So the director of the show, Edward Russell, used to work with him. He used to work on Doctor Who, and I think he was on that crossover time when Matt Lucas was one of the kind of companions. So he knew him. And kind of said, similar to what you just said, really, but without luckily having to shoot anything, would you say, look, this will be an hour, of your time. Do you want to come and do it? And he said, yeah, and we did it, which was great. And it's great to have, I think, is almost the reverse, really, is great to have him in the can that we can then play out to the actor. Because a lot of it is just going to be a guy in the room, which is really difficult stuff to do, especially when it's just a one-hander for a large part of it. So, we're really lucky that he can plug him in and listen to him. Really helpful.
Very nice. And are you going to build the sort of the spacecraft yourself? Are you going to try and do that, or have you got a set that's kind of worked for you already?
Well, it's sort of near future Black Mirror setting. So it's going to kind of just be a kind of a boring-ish office with a little bit of sort of I'm a huge Ridley Scott, James Cameron fan. So Blade Runner, Aliens, Alien. Yeah. All of that. I love the retro futurism look. So I mean, if we can, I'd love it to kind of look like the Nostromo, But we'll.
That'd be beautiful, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
I'll send you. You've probably already found one yourself, but I found a YouTube tutorial about how to make your own sci-fi cockpit, but like done really nicely. Yeah. And I keep looking at that, thinking like, I might just make one for the garage and just sit in it and be like. Yeah. What could we film in here? It doesn't really matter. Because are you still doing your horror film podcast you were doing?
Yeah. So First Frights. We've just done the first kind of series, I guess, the first batch.
Yeah.
And then we're kind of looking to record a couple more in the new year. But yeah, I'm a huge horror fan. Any chance to talk to people about horror films is great, and I'm not like a huge horror snob. I'll go for anything. I'll go for
Oh, I think being any snob in film is just a waste of time, because it's like no. You got to enjoy the schlock and the shit, and you've also got to enjoy the highbrow nonsense. You just got to enjoy everything.
Yeah, no, you do. I get really self-conscious about my my Letterboxd reviews, which is the most film nerdy thing to say ever, because sometimes I'll watch one battle after another and go, you know what, amazing, 4 or 5 stars out of 5, I love that. But then also I watch Anaconda recently, and I'm like, I really enjoyed that, like that's for, but then now I've seen that people I know have followed me on Letterboxd. I'm like, who am I, like becoming kind of performatively like a film bro?
Yeah.
Can I be true to myself?
100%, because I watch a lot of like shitty B movies from the 80s and 90s, and I'll rate them like 3.5 and 4 out of 5 on Letterboxd, and then I'll rate like Sinners a 2.5 because I'm like, it's good, but I just don't think it works. And they're like, oh, but you'll give Chopping Mall a 4, and I'm like, Chopping Mall is perfect for what it needs to be. That's like, they're different universes. Like, don't get like this, like if it's good, it's good. If it's not, it's not. Don't worry about it. So yeah, try never worry what other people think.
Exactly. Be your authentic self on Letterboxd, guys. Yeah.
So it was, I I'm sure we'll get into this during the questions, but was horror films something that you were introduced to young, or was that something that you found on your own?
Yeah, no, I think so. I think, my dad was a huge, and my mum to be fair, massive sort of Hammer horror, classic
Nice.
fans. So I've always kind of grown up with it as such. It's one of those things, I think, where I've, watched kind of more of the classics and the schlocky ones when I was younger, and then maybe came back to it when I was a little bit older, I think, and kind of, revisited it and went back to kind of, the John Carpenter's and the kind of classic, more kind of, the horrors that are sort of put up in the kind of cinematic pantheon as great. They're horror movies, but they're also they're great movies in themselves. So, and I was always, as a kid, a huge Stephen King fan. So yeah, I've always kind of been a big horror fan, and then sort of, I think in the last couple of years kind of revisited it and come back to it and gone back and maybe done my homework on the classics a bit more, which, is always good to do. Your Nightmares on Elm Street,
it's always great
thing,
I think you sometimes have to rewatch those old horrors, because sometimes you watch them either too young or in the wrong headspace, and you watch them and you're like, nah, this is dog shit, I don't care. And then you dismiss the whole franchise. And then sometimes you need to go back and be like, oh no, hold on, let's try that again. And you'll rewatch it and you're like, okay, I was right, the first one isn't for me, but actually the second's good because they go in a different direction. Or actually, I don't really care what they're doing, but I really like what this one character's doing, and that's really good. So I think, always sort of going back to an old film and being like, oh, maybe I need to revisit this.
Maybe it's not shit. Recently I watched all of, and I'm sure you have this as well. I always joke and call it ITV2+1 films, but like they're the films that you never quite see all the way through, and you watch bits of it, and usually on at Christmas or like in the summer. I mean, just as a kid, I remember kind of you pick bits of it up, and there's always like you've watched the first bit and you try and go back to the +1 and see a bit more of it. And Scream was like that for me. I never saw Scream all the way through, and then this summer I watched all of the Screams. It's like, these are great, and I
that's sick.
It's really good. And I came at it kind of backwards. I watched the most recent one on a plane, and I was like, oh, this is really good. This is like, and at that point, it's like, 8 movies of meta horror, and then I went back and watched them all, and I was like, this is great.
It's funny. A friend of mine did the exact same thing. Like, and he's 27 or something. So I forget that there's a 10-year age gap between me and my friend. So for the listener, I'm 37, not 17. And he was like, I've never seen the Scream films. I was like, you've never seen the Scream films? What are you on about? They came out when we were kids. And he was like, nope, 10 years difference. And I was like, oh, well, they're rad. They're so good. Give them a go. And just like during 1, 2, and 3, he was like, I can't believe I didn't watch these. And I was like, they're so good. They're so good.
And it's great seeing, not to sound like a complete wanky film, bro, but it is really great seeing all these amazing actors in such a kind of embryonic state, really. And you go, oh my God, Courtney Cox. Oh my God, that's, all these different people who went on to have these amazing careers, or some didn't. And that's the interesting thing, is the ones that, didn't quite get it, but they're such amazing character actors. David Arquette? David Arquette.
Yeah, Arquette.
Yeah, great. Like as Dewey's is like so lovable.
He's so good. He's so good in that. And you always think, like, how comes he didn't get more work for this type of role? Like, this is a great role for him, and it never really got anywhere. And you're like, oh, I guess because he's way into wrestling, maybe that's all he wanted to do in real life.
Great documentary. If you ever, I don't know if you've watched it, but massive recommendation. I think it's called. I can't remember the top of my head, but it's him. It's about him and his love of wrestling, and it's really interesting.
Oh, nice.
Really it's kind of like a biopic. It's his life told through his kind of late stage interest, or career turn into kind of lucha wrestling. It's mad. It's really good. I'd recommend it.
Oh, nice. I'll definitely check that out. But okay. And when you have because you do a little promo for your podcast, do you have people who are in the film horror industry, or do you have non-horror industry people and you ask about their horror recommendations.
It's kind of mixed. I'm for the first season we've kind of done people who aren't within the horror industry, because I think for me what I find really interesting is that while it is, a lot of the films we talk about Saw and Hostel, and the others just as an example, and Jaws, is that also it's what I find interesting about the first film that scared you is it's not always horror a lot of the time as well. I think I say it on one of the episodes, but it's not a film. But the thing that terrified me for years as a kid was on the Teletubbies. Is they're like, I don't know if you remember, there's one episode where they have like a lion and a bear and a tiger, and they've all got like they've got other wheels, they're wooden on wheels, and they've got eyes that spin around. And they kind of get closer and closer. It's like kind of like a cursed video if you look on YouTube. And I was terrified for years and years and years and years. And Katie Owen, who's one of the guests on one of the episodes, she talks about E.T. and how she's absolutely terrified of E.T.
Terrifying.
So interesting, and that's what I love about it, is that you can kind of, you get all the, I can nerd out on the horror stuff, but you can actually go, oh my god, yeah, like E.T.'s going really weird when you think about it.
Oh, E.T. got me so bad as a kid. Like the bit where there's the ball and he's outside in the light and it's at the very beginning. That as a kid wrote me off, and then when he's all white and horrible, as a kid, I was like, oh, I don't like this. I'm not a fan. He's too weird looking. I can't handle it. And Edward Scissorhands. Yeah,
and you always remember, I think they leave a really big mark on you, those scenes, from films, even if they aren't necessary horror films, that you always remember, really. I mean, my one was on the pod, when I talk about my one, is Aliens, which I loved as a film anyway, but I remember that viscerally, going to watching it at home and needing to go to the toilet and being like scared shitless. Like, oh,
I'm going to take a minute.
Yeah.
Compose myself, then I'll go back.
Yeah, exactly. But, so it's a real mix, which is great. And to get that, I think, range of opinions and people who aren't horror fans, who are scared of horror films, people who are horror fans who really can remember that first film that made them fall in love with the genre as well. It's great.
They're great things, and I think in a similar vein with this podcast, I like finding out the horror fans' first film, because you very rarely you don't choose the first film you went to go see. Your mum and dad will take you, whatever.
Yeah.
So when people like, Charlie Adlard of The Walking Dead, and he's talking about like My Fair Lady, and you're just like, oh yeah, I guess. Like, you love zombies. He's like, I don't love zombies. It's like, oh yeah, of course you don't. So yeah, it's very interesting when it's that the first film you were made to watch, and then the first film that you were genuinely scared about. I think they're very in that similar, like they've imprinted on you. It doesn't matter what the subject is. Sometimes it's just that imprint that really gets you, and I love it.
Yeah, it's so interesting.
How did you get into? Did you do TV and stuff at uni?
I didn't. I did American literature with creative writing at university.
Nice.
And then I was part. There's a program that ran in Wales. It's still going, actually. There's a program in Wales called Screen Alliance Wales, where when they moved a lot of the TV and film production to Wales, sort of in the last 10 years, they were trying to get as many local people, in the area into the industry. So I was on that, which they basically kind of put you to a different production. So I was in the very first series of Industry, the TV show. So I was a runner. I wasn't a very good runner.
Yeah.
And I did the commercials for a bit, and then kind of fell into unscripted documentary, and I've been there ever since, really. So yeah.
Oh, well done. Well done, because it is not an easy gig to stay in. I think it can be.
It's hard, yeah.
Soul destroying. Yeah.
It's hard. My background is development, and the good thing about development is that you are usually in post for a while, because you're selling and you're pitching and you're developing ideas. So you usually the contracts are slightly longer, and you can kind of find your feet a bit more instead of kind of going from job to job to job. and then only recently in the last couple of years I've tried just to add some more strings to my bow, because it's good to get out of the office to kind of produce more and actually get on location and learn a bit more and have the fun, the joy of dealing with all the different emotions and egos that come with productions. So yeah.
I do love it when you meet someone who's got a very big ego on set and you're just like, oh, this is going to be a fun job trying to manage you.
Yeah. Pre-order the bottle of wine for myself now.
Yeah. I also love it when you know who that person is and you also know who your chill people are, and it's like, oh, I know I can just leave you guys to get on with it. And you're like, I'm going to hang out with you guys whenever I can.
Yes, yeah. This is going to be my decompression room. Yeah.
You talk about your love for horror films, and you have, of course, made a horror film yourself. Is it just the one, or have you made multiples?
I've made one horror short. Yeah. One.
Yeah.
I'd like to go back and do more, but yeah, one at the moment. Which was a horror comedy, so it's not pure horror even. I'm a pretender.
I liked it. It's a safe bet, if you're not scared, it was funny, and if you didn't laugh, well, it's a horror.
Yeah, split the genre exactly. It's spread betting with film is always a good way.
Exactly, it's the best way to do it.
Yeah.
But obviously, if your parents showed you a horror film for the first film you went to the cinema, that's bad parenting. But what was the first film you saw at the cinema?
Well, I'm going to completely disappoint you. The first one I remember vividly, and there's a couple around about the time, but the one I really remember was Atlantis: The Lost World, which is a Disney film.
Matt Damon?
No, it's an animated Disney film that came out in 2001. And
I know that. I thought Matt Damon was a voice in that. Was he not?
It's oh my god, what's his name? Marty McFly. I can't remember his name.
Michael J. Fox.
J. Fox is the Milo Thatch, and then maybe I can't remember who. It's a great voice cast, but I remember it vividly.
Yeah,
I loved it. It was that kind of boom time of Disney releasing all these kind of not traditional sort of Disney story animations. It was like that. There was Treasure Planet, which I was obsessed with. Bugs Life, all these great sort of. It was kind of like it was kind of like a free flow jazz era for Disney. Like, let's just try some new stuff that isn't public domain fairy tales.
Can we just remake anything we've made before? Can we just do that again?
Yeah, no, come on. It's
do something new, fresh.
Yeah, come on. Let's do it. Let's get Michael J. Fox as a nerdy paleontologist or whatever he is, and send him to the bottom of the ocean. Great. I was sort of upset. I was that was peak. I would have been. Yeah, I'm like 4 or 5 then, and it was like, okay, there are giant like crab creatures. You know what I mean? It was like everything you want. It's like, this is cool. Everything is huge, and there's huge mechanical things. There's giant monsters. This is great. Any subtext is completely over my head, but visually, this is amazing.
Well, I remember that film coming out and my brother being really excited to see it, and I don't know why, but to me, I remember it being the first film where I heard from reviews it wasn't very good, and I was like, I don't want to watch it then. And it came out, what, like 2001? It didn't come out... Yeah, so I was, 10, 11... I was 13, right? At 13, I'm like, well, if the reviews are saying it's bad, I'm not going to go watch it.
Usually I'd go, but yeah.
Yeah, that sounds right up my street, but if Mark Commode says it's shit, I can't watch it. And it's just like, what's weird is that I still haven't seen it because my brain as a 13-year-old was like, no. Yeah. The reviews are bad.
The reviews are bad. This is we're never going to recover from this. Weirdly, there is a sequel which was D, which is, not as good. But I love it. It's got a real special place in my heart because I just remember... falling in love with it and really and getting on VHS and just watching it. Same with like all those films that came out. Bugs Life, I loved Bugs Life and just watched it over.
Yeah, Bugs Life was a big one for me.
Yeah, Bugs Life's got that kind of recently has been kind of reappraised as like incredibly quite Marxist kind of like very sort of like how you slip in sort of like political discourse into like a 3-year-old
Yeah.
film.
And I also like that, like, were you a Bugs Life or an Ants guy? And it's like, well, I'm Bugs Life guy, and I'm pleased I was, because I don't want to like anything as Woody Allen fans, you know?
Yeah.
Like, oh good, I was the right one.
Yeah. Ants is terrifying. There's a horrific, I don't know if you remember watching it, there's a horrific scene where they like go to like attack the termites or something. And the termites, these like huge giant things that shoot acid out of their heads, and there's like people being melted. And I was like, this is like quite horrendous. This is pretty
It's too much. Far too much. Yeah. For a kid, I want nice, who ordered the poo-poo platter?
Yeah.
You know, I want that stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's good stuff. So with Atlantis, was there anything about it? Was there any sort of... You said you were 4 or 5 when you went to see it, so I guess, you know, it's not tugging on your parents' sleeve and being like, I want to go see this. Mm-hmm. But what was it, do you reckon, about that film that stuck with you?
I think it was the scale of it. I think, you know, I'm also a huge sci-fi fan, and I think it was that. I think it was the scale of it. I think it was the sort of the imagination of it to an extent. For me, is it's all those. It's a very kind of, if you know, you go back and look at it, it's a very kind of sci-fi film. It's very big. It's quite, you know, like Spielbergian in that way. It's a big adventure. They go on a kind of a quest. They go to this hidden world. They discover all these cool creatures. It's perfect. You know, it's kind of like red meat, right? You know, kind of as if everything you could have wanted. And as I said as well, I had like a giant mechanical like lobster creature that attacked. You know, I had this whole thing for years. My parents used to take the mick out of me, is that I always used to love all the villains. That was my big thing. It's like I was obsessed with them. And like kind of, we'll come on to it later, I'm sure. But you know, one of the best things I love was like when there was a villain in a film, and then usually like the secondary villain, and then by the time like the third act, they like turn good. So they were cool. They weren't kind of a loser. They were cool, and they actually then get to have the kind of moral kind of high ground in the end. So it was okay to like them. And it was like, there's a couple of characters in Atlantis who were like, oh, they betray Milo, I think, at one point, and they come good in the end. I was like, yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, that's all right then. I knew to like them. Yeah, they were okay.
Yeah, I was right. Yeah.
You mentioned earlier that you watched this over and over. Was there other films? Like, what other films did you watch over and over again as a kid?
Again, this is quite funny to talk about, given the films that like I'd like to make and like making and stuff I watch now. Is Chitty Chitty Bang Bang was the film I watched probably into oblivion. I would say I was obsessed with that film. I
wore the tape out.
Yeah, literally. What I remember, just whizzing that VHS. Weirdly, my sister then was obsessed with another sort of classic, being Mary Poppins, and the sort of joke in the family is that she, literally rewound the tape so many times, like burnt the tape.
Yeah,
and had to get, and that was the interesting thing. Is at that point, like DVDs were coming in, so she got a DVD. It was like she can watch this as many times as she wants. This is amazing.
She'll never ruin this.
Exactly. Yeah, and but yes, I loved Chitty Bang. I thought it was great. You know, it's a musical, which I guess is one of those things that when I watched it, in the same way where I think at that age loved Atlantis, is like a big adventure sort of film, and it's got Dick Van Dyke, and they go to a foreign country, and there's this great villain in the child catcher, and it's really beautifully imagined. It's it's so kind of the set design and the visuals are really kind of amazing. It's a bit like of that time of like Willy Wonka as well, the original.
Yeah,
they're so lush and it's so in your face, but not in a kind of garish way. It's like, wow, it's a bit kind of like, I guess, like Wes Anderson is now, right? It has license to go out there and be big and be bold and kind of be like, yeah, it's cool, right?
It's just what Technicolor should be, if that makes sense. Yes. It's that like you're giving me everything. The saturation is up, the fucking flavors are all the way up, and I'm loving everything. You're not over salting. You're just overdoing everything to the point where it's like, oh, well, nothing's too loud. but everything's loud.
Yeah,
and it's wonderful.
You could tell they were like, "Oh, finally we can do it in color. Like, let's go."
Yeah. let's fucking use the colors. What other colors we got? Throw them in.
Yeah, I mean, look at all this. Again, it also has fantastic set pieces. You've got the bit where he goes to the candy, the kind of sweet factory. That's great with the toot sweets. You've got the stuff at the kind of, it's like a circus or something, or like a kind of country fair. You've got the big banquet scene in the sort of the castle towards the end. It's all just, it's great. It's just really sumptuous. You can just kind of, again, I just loved watching it. And I think it's one of those things, I don't know if you have it. I have it now with certain films that I rewatch a lot, where you have watched it so many times that you're kind of happy, or you have a comfort of knowing what comes next. You're like, okay, we're on to this. I've watched Blade Runner 2049 probably about 25 times, right? And I could probably just sit back and just watch it in my head to an extent.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, great.
No, I know what you mean.
I know where we are now. Oh, great, it's this part. I love this part.
Yeah. So Jaws, Jurassic Park, and Evil Dead. Yeah. They're like, I can just put those on and be like, okay, we're in. We're safe. We're in. And that's it. I don't got to worry about it anymore. We're good to go. Have I got my... Yeah, I've got it down here. You're a Blade Runner fan.
It's not the gun, is it?
Yep.
Oh, so cool.
It was annoyingly, it's like, it's resin and it's broken, but this all the loading mechanism works and everything like that, and cool. I love it.
You've got that and the pulse rifle. That's mad.
And I also got the 2012 Dread.
Oh, Lawgiver, sick. I love that film.
And then, bear with me, there's another one, The Samaritan.
Oh wow, the Hellboy Samaritan. Gee, wow.
Huge.
Look at that.
But yeah.
Do the bullets come out?
So, yeah.
Cool. That's so cool. Wow.
So yeah, I'm a big prop guy.
Yeah, you're absolutely like locked and loaded for kind of the cinematic weapons. I'm trying to think what else.
Oh, I'm ready.
Yeah.
What else?
What else would you need? I'm trying to think if there's anything.
What else?
It's kind of up.
Oh, I mean,
lightsaber.
Yeah, lightsaber.
Maybe like Conan's sword would be quite cool.
That's a good point. I don't have Conan's sword. I do have the Master Sword from Zelda.
That's quite cool.
But it used to be where this bookcase is, this one here, used to hang on the wall. And during meetings, when I used to work a corporate job, I had to decide, do I want to be seen with a sword behind me or my guitar behind me? Because both send a message.
Yeah, different messages.
But what message, So in the end, I thought, just get rid of it. Just have a wall of DVDs. Let them know.
Yeah.
So yeah. Put that down somewhere now. Bloody hell. Excellent. It's funny you were saying about the musical thing as well, because I remember as a kid being really like, I didn't want to. If my mum ever suggested a musical, I would always poo-poo it. I'd be like, I don't want to watch a musical. But then the amount of films I watched as a kid that I loved that were musicals, but they weren't pitched as musicals. So I was like, no. Like, don't get me wrong. Little Mermaid, that's fine. Aladdin, that's fine. But don't you dare show me Singing in the Rain. Yeah. And it's like, why? What? There's no difference between these films. And then as an adult, watching something like Singing in the Rain and being like, oh, I was an idiot. This is beautiful. Is kind of
perfect cinema, isn't it? Yeah, for a
reason.
This
is perfect cinema. Yeah, like, to the point where I have Singing in the Rain on 8mm film. Oh, wow. Like, the whole film. And it's just like, I love it.
Yeah.
But anyway. Okay, interesting. What was the first 18-rated film you saw, and how old were you?
So it is Starship Troopers, 1997, Paul Verhoeven, and I would have been. This is quite a good story. I was about 10 or 11, and what it was is I was. I remember I had a book. My nan got me a book, the making of Starship Troopers, a book from the library, because Like, I am a huge Star Wars fan, and she just kind of went, "Oh, star ship,
Space, that'll do."
and I fell in love with it. I was like, "This is amazing! Giant bugs. This is great. There's blood. There's gore. You know, it's everything kind of like an 11-year-old boy would think is amazing." I remember saying to my parents, "I was like, I really want to watch this film." Watched it, loved it, and I was like, "Oh, my birthday was coming up, and I was like, can I watch the film again with all my friends?" And they were like, "Oh, it's 18." And it was like, okay, yeah. The interesting thing was, if you haven't seen the film, if people haven't seen the film, is that there's a load of kind of very graphic violence and a lot of kind of like alien bugs exploding everywhere and people being
brains getting sucked out of heads.
There is also a sustained section of nudity, a couple of very sustained of nudity. So the compromise was, you can watch the film again. This dates it. It was on VHS, and you can watch the film, but my dad had to come in and fast forward all of the nudity. So it was like, everyone look away. We fast forward the 2 nudity scenes, and it was like,
don't you enjoy Diz? All right.
Yeah, yeah. It was like, you can enjoy the kind of wanton abandon of violence that is throughout this film. But we have to draw the line and be responsible somewhere. So that was the first kind of R-rated film I watched, and sort of traumatizing a bunch of other 11-year-olds. Because I was like, do you not think this is amazing?
Yeah, this is good stuff. What are you on about?
This is good stuff. And similarly, that is a film I've watched. I can't even tell you how many times I've watched that film. I love that film.
It's so good. And that's a film as well. When it's on, it's staying on.
Yeah, and it's really, I think it's never really had the proper, I think, like, appraisal it should have had, because it's really layered, and it's very clever and very smart. And I think you go back to it at different ages. Watch it when watch it when 11. It's like, this is amazing. This is good guys are blowing up giant bugs and having a great time, and there's a bit of violence. This is super cool. And then you go, okay, this is actually kind of an allegory on the sort of banality of fascism. This is kind of cool, and you can revisit it and get something from it each time. And it's a shame it didn't do very well at the time.
Yeah.
And I went to see the 20th anniversary. Would it be 20th anniversary screening? I was in Los Angeles at the time, and I was like, I've got to go to go and see it. And I think it was Casper Van Dien, Paul Verhoeven was there.
Sick.
Yeah, and Denise, I can't think of her surname now.
Richards
was there as a Q&A, and they were talking about it, and they were saying, like, the problem was, I think it went out in the US as a X-rated, maybe, or that it was they made a mistake, and they should have cut some stuff down and put it out as like the kids could go, teenagers go and see it. But they were saying that there's a really funny thing that was happening. I think it was another film, maybe like Inspector Gadget, was on at the same time. And they said, if you look at all the multiplexes where both of them were playing, they said there was like anecdotal reports of huge spikes in like Inspector Gadget sales. And they think they're buying tickets for one film. And I think it's like an LA Times reporter was seeing all these kids going to watch Starship Troopers.
Excellent.
So Paul Verhoeven was kind of saying, like, well, if you add like all of the ticket sales of this other film and put it, it's actually like did quite well. And I think the sad thing about it is it kind of, I watched them and I still love them to an extent. It kind of had several sequels that kind of did worse and worse and became more B movie to the point of like, okay, now there's an animated film and now there's a so and it's like, and it's sad because Casper Van Dien's great, and he still very much loves that film and loves the fan base that's there for it. But yeah, it's a shame because you go from such an amazing, massive like Hollywood production to something to a B movie film within like a sequel, which is like it's just kind of crazy.
It is bonkers, and I love that the original book is really it's very conservative and it's pro-military, and the fact that they make this film and they, like you said, they point out the banality of war and they really take the piss out of it, but not in such a way that you can still watch it and think it's pro something. If you want, you can. You can also watch it and realize that it's Denise Richards who triggered the attack on New Brazil.
Oh
If you
yeah,
think about it.
with the meteor, right? Yeah,
If she didn't go a different route, they wouldn't have had that, which would have pushed it off and then made it go and thing, which then caused the attack. If she hadn't done that,
yeah.
there wouldn't have been the film. But hey,
It's a Carmen Ibanez truthers out here getting there.
also, like for Warhammer 40,000 fans, that's the closest like anyone's ever got to a proper 40k film.
Yeah.
Because between that and Event Horizon, they're just like, well, there's Warhammer as a film.
Yeah.
So it still has like such a big appeal to such a wide audience. But you're right, it is still seen as this like, oh, it's not very good, is it? It's like, no. It's excellent. It's wonderful. The people who love it. Yeah.
And I hate that when it's thrown around, because I think you can call things campy almost as a term of endearment, right? Like Adam West Batman is campy.
Yeah.
At its time, and it's sort of a kind of a way of being affectionate towards it. But I think, yeah, it's difficult, isn't it? Because I think, when you call something, and it is a bit like it's very melodramatic. I mean, the entire cast is all ex kind of daytime TV stars, and they are directed and in a certain way, and they do give good performances. But I think calling it hate it when it gets a misnomer like that, because I think it's a lot more clever than people give it credit for.
And the performances are actually a lot more like they're not, but they are a lot more nuanced than they need to be.
Yeah,
like they don't need that. That's the thing. You're right. It is considered very campy, and there is sort of people are like, oh, they're hamming it up, and it's like they are hamming it up, but only in the right points. They're not hamming it up in the quiet moments, which says that they're doing this intentionally. And if they're doing it intentionally, watch. Why are they doing this intentionally? What are they telling us in that point? It's so good. Another one I'm going to have to rewatch.
Yeah, and comes with, like, again, a lot of those 80s films, like Predator or Alien or kind of Commando. Just like a laundry list of amazing quotes from Starship Troopers.
Oh, yeah.
That are still meme. I mean, it's like a massively memed film, even to this day. It's great.
On one of the group chats I'm on, it's a 40k group chat. Twice, 3 times a year, someone will just put a screenshot, like, watching it. Like, just watching it. And it's like, oh, yeah, you're right, we should go play soon. We should play against Tyranids soon. We should go do that. It's just like, you just know straight away.
Crush the bugs, yeah.
Nice. Gotta get those bugs. So, I mean, that is a grown-up film, but what was the first film that you watched that you considered grown-up?
Ooh, the first film that I consider grown-up. I'd probably say it was Brian De Palma's The Untouchables. You seen that?
Oh, nice, yeah.
Yeah, Kevin Costner, Sean Connery, and I think Robert De Niro as Al Pacino.
Al Capone.
Al Capone. Yeah. Al Capone. I remember watching that and being like, oh, this is a grown-up movie. There's no giant bugs in this. This is terrible. No, I really...
They've got shotguns, but they've got no bugs. What's going on?
What's going on? There's no nudity. Yeah. I remember watching it. And it was, I think, because it's held up as one of the great kind of noir gangster films, I guess, or kind of true crime films of the 20th century. I loved it. I remember it was, and it felt... It's a very maybe a stupid thing to say, but it felt like, okay, I have to engage with this.
Yes.
And this is, I really have to sit down and watch it, and not just sort of sit back and watch spectacle. And maybe that's that kind of change that you get when you go from maybe the more kind of like Lucas, Spielberg view of filmmaking, more films that you watch and you go, it's not 10 minutes action, 10 minutes talking, 10 minute action, 10 minute talking. It's a bit more nuanced than that. But it's got some, the kind of very famous scene of having that shootout. I think it's Grand Central Station having a shootout and there's like a buggy in the middle of this. Shootout. The buggy comes down the stairs. It's amazing, and it's a shootout, but it's not kind of super stylized. It's quite realist, and it's I think it's great, and it's got Kevin Costner's great in it. Sean Connery's okay in
it. he's fine. Yeah.
He's like they get drunk. I think there's a scene where they get drunk or something, and then he's sort of taken end of Connery's career, isn't it? I think
It's interesting. There's if you watch anyone who drinks alcohol of the good guys dies.
Interesting. Yeah, it's like kind of weird moralistic tale on there.
Yeah, it's meant to be like, because Costner doesn't. He's about prohibition and he agrees with it, so he doesn't.
Of course, yeah.
Whereas everyone else who's like, yeah, it's prohibition, but what's wrong with a bit of this? Even to the point where there's the one guy who's like, in Moonrise Kingdom, he plays the narrator.
Okay.
Got the glasses. He was also in Seinfeld as the head of NBC.
Yeah, okay.
But in The Untouchables, there's a bit of a shootout, and one of the whiskey barrels gets shot, and he's kind of celebrating, and he kind of just sticks his head under as a joke and takes a drink, and that's the only time he takes a drink. But spoilers, he gets shot.
Right, interesting. That's quite. That's pretty hardcore from Brian De Palma, there, isn't it?
It is, considering Palmer is quite like, I don't know. He's a political man, but he's not. I would have considered him on the right side of politics.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? It's maybe it's a sort of kind of like, I don't know, intertextuality of it. You know that.
Yeah.
That you know that they that Costner's character is Elliot Ness is the only kind of true good guy. You know, he's the kind of moral center. There's also I remember Connery having like a really like egregious death where they like shoot him like a million times with this, and there's like a bit where I remember watching being like, because I love their kind of little relationship they have, him as a kind of the old school beat cop, and he gets shot the first time, like, okay, I've seen enough films, he's been shot a little bit, he's gonna be okay, and then he gets like hosed with a Thompson about 3 more times, and
you're like, I don't know if James Bond's going to live through this.
Yeah. Is he going to be? He's going to walk this one off. But it's like, again, it's like it's Brian De Palma obviously does great action, but it's not kind of like action for the sake. It's like it's horrible. It's a really horrible moment.
It's definitely telling you something within the action. The action isn't just for the sake of it. It's kind of like no. Look who's getting killed. Look who's being abused in this situation, and realize why. He's a very good filmmaker there.
No, definitely. So that was the film I think that I feel like I had to turn my brain on for the first time.
And was that introduced to you? Was it a self-discovery? Was it how did you come across that film?
I think that was one I watched with my dad. I feel like it was one of those ones. He's a big film guy, and I think that was one. Same with the Rocky films. It was like almost sort of like, you need to watch this one. You know what I mean? Like it's like you watch Rocky, you watch Untouchables, maybe The Godfather. Is within those kind of that pantheon of films that you sort of get your background education. It's almost like just do it just in case someone brings it up as a reference.
You don't want to get caught short not knowing what The Godfather is. Come on.
That's the worst thing when someone does a film reference and you've kind of seen it and you kind of like stretch it and be like, oh yeah, and like, oh yeah, because like in this one scene you're like, oh fuck, I only saw like the first.
Oh no, I'm aware of the film. Let's not go any further.
I watched some interviews about it. Does that count? Like, you know what I mean?
I read the synopsis on Wikipedia. Come on, that's good enough.
Yeah. Or someone says the film, and you quickly, like, just in case they kind of call on you to give your opinion, like, oh yeah.
It's now. That's why I always go to Letterboxd, and I'm like, I think I've seen it. Let me see if I've logged it. And then check, and I'm like, right, I haven't seen it, but let's quickly read it so I know what I'm on about, because I might know of the story but not seen it. And then I've heard of it, but I've never seen it, which seems to be, that should be written on my fucking tombstone. So yeah, like, I hate getting caught short having not seen a film, which is bonkers, because there's thousands.
There is thousands, but you feel bad, don't you? Or especially when it's one of the kind of, classics, I think. I've never, I'll hold my hand up and say I've never properly watched The Godfather the whole way through. And
I'm going to give you a controversial opinion early. You don't got to.
You think you're not a Godfather fan?
I'm not a Godfather fan.
Okay.
I think it's fine. It's Goodfellas is a better. If you want to go for that, if you want to go for a gangster film, in the mob type thing, I think Goodfellas is a more fun, enjoyable film that gives you that. If you want to go for this generational, generational sort of film about the mob. The Gangs of Wasseypur, which is an Indian film,
Yeah.
by far, like it's 2 parts and it's about 6 hours long, but by far that's a much better film that shows this sort of the effects on gangs and family from one guy all the way to the end. And of course that film has been, influenced by The Godfather.
Yeah.
But I think it's a better film.
Okay.
More enjoyable.
Yeah.
But
is that, yeah, I remember my sort of entry point into it was like being on a plane. I think it was like a 12-hour flight or something, or an 8-hour flight. And the guy directly in front of me, I could see his screen, and he watched all of them. I think almost
really?
as a sort of like, I have 8 hours. If I watch all
the amount of friends that are like, well, I got a 12-hour flight, might as well watch all of the Lord of the Rings again. And I'm like,
that's a big one. That's a classic. Yeah.
Watch something else you've not seen. They're like, nope.
Yeah, that's a slog, isn't it?
But yeah, I wouldn't. I don't think I could. My partner went away for a weekend. I say recently, this was probably ages ago. And I thought to myself, I'm going to watch all the extended cuts of The Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
If I got halfway through the first one before I was like, how much more fucking walking are they going to do? Let's do something else.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm going to turn this off. I'm going to watch something else.
Yeah. It's like I've tried to read the first Fellowship of the Rings.
How far have you got?
I gave up. It was like they're still talking about, there's like, and then they had food again, and I'm going to describe in excruciating detail all of the food they ate.
So I skipped all the songs. Yeah, genuinely. Oh. I skipped all the songs. I was like, there's songs in this? Nah, fuck that. Got through all that. Then I was like, who's this Tom Bombadil, and why am I spending so much fucking time with him?
But people love
and then
him.
They love him.
Tom Bombadil.
I don't understand it. I got past the Prancing Pony. I don't even think I got like fully past the Prancing Pony before I was like, I'm done. We're halfway through this book, and you're still just walking in the Shire, for fuck's sake. Like, let's speed it up.
Come on, Jack.
And I said this to a friend, and they were just like, "Oh, you were nowhere near anything happening. If that's where you got bored, you were done." And I was like,
the point I gave up. I was like, oh. I think it's difficult because you watch the film, you're like, aren't they supposed to see the Nazguls now? And they just haven't.
Yeah.
They're still singing the song.
Stop singing, man. Hurry the fuck. Also, are you in a hurry or not? Because it doesn't feel like you're in a hurry.
Yeah. Epic in scale, but not in sort of, there's no sort of impetus to go any faster, is there?
Also, I am a sci-fi guy, not a fantasy guy. So to me, I would rather, having said that, I never got through the first book of Dune, but I would rather do Dune, and in that sci-fi, like Orson Scott Card books, I'd rather read those, or like maybe not Asimov. Anyway, I would sooner go sci-fi than I would fantasy. So when I'm reading high fantasy and it's all bequilliceth of the Maratheth, I'm just like, no. Tell me about ray guns and aliens.
Yeah, where's the
more in
planet killing battle station?
Yeah, where's that? Come on. That one. So, what film holds a special place in your heart?
Well, yeah, talking about sci-fi and giant planet-killing battle stations, it's Return of the Jedi is probably gun to the head. Favorite film of all time is Return of the Jedi. And I know if anyone says it's not the best Star Wars film, and Empire Strikes Back is better, I know that. If anyone says that,
tell them to go fuck themselves.
Yeah,
you enjoy whatever you want to enjoy.
I think it's and again, I think I fell in love with it at the right age of being like 7 and being like, this is amazing. Again, I wasn't like Ewoks are cool, but I also wasn't like Ewoks are crap. I was like, this is sort of, the perfect entry point. And yeah, I loved that film. I still love that film. I think for all its, again, you can kind of come back to it, when you're older and go, actually, on balance, it's not a great film. But it's great. It's got it's just kind of greatest hits of the trilogy, right? And it's got the I still am a huge Darth Vader fan. So for me, I was like, this is great. I guess see what Darth Vader finally looks like, and he's actually a good guy. He does a good thing.
Back again with you with the villain that turns out good.
I was like, Darth Vader's the best because he's I know he's bad, but actually he does turn to be good in the end. So it's okay.
Do you ever watch the? You can do the 6. Well, it's 5. You don't watch Phantom Menace, but you can do the machete cut.
Yes, you go. New Hope.
Empire,
back, and then you go 1, 2, 2, 3, and then Return. I did last couple of years I did that, and it kind of saves them all a bit, doesn't it?
It's the only way I would watch them now.
Yeah, it gives them. It allows you to lean on sort of the strengths of those films and kind of forgive the weaknesses, because it's like, the prequels get a lot of shtick, but probably similar to you, like they were my Star Wars films, right? They were the ones that came out when I was young, and I loved them. Same. And you sort of reappraise them later on, and I think also the Star Wars fandom is so kind of like
horribly toxic.
Like, you don't know this, you like this, what, you're not allowed to like this, you have to like that, and it's very kind of prescriptive in that way. And I think
I hate it.
Yeah,
it's the fandom that's put me off the films, which is a really shame, because I loved them. My parents and all my family, like, that was the thing. My mum sewed me a Jedi robe. I get broomsticks and with electrical tape, and then they'd be lightsabers. I did all of that. Now, when people are like, "Have you seen the new?" I'm like, I won't, I can't, because I don't want it. I don't want to watch something and go, "Oh, that was pretty good," and then have my friends who are really toxic in their opinions about certain things to then be like, "Oh, I hated it because of this reason." And you're like,
cool. It's hard.
I just enjoyed it.
It's become it's such a polarizing kind of fandom, I guess, if you will, like, that you can't really have like a moderate opinion on. It's very like extremist opinions on Star Wars.
It's either love or hate, and it's like, what about indifferent?
Yeah, I actually really like Solo. I enjoyed that as a film. I'll be honest with you. Like, I thought it was a really good, like, enjoyable, kind of fun. I think a lot of what happened with that was it came out after The Last Jedi, and so many people hated Last Jedi across sort of spectrum of fans. Is that anything that came out afterwards was like, this is bad, because it's like, I like,
it's as well as that. Everyone was like, we've got 3 young Han Solo films. They're called Star Wars. And you're like, oh, all right, chill out. But no one's ruining your childhood like you keep telling us. They're just making a film. You don't got to watch it. It's as simple as that. No, you don't watch it.
You haven't. And I get it means like stuff to people. Like, I had it recently with, growing up, as a kid, I was a huge Halo fan. Like, I played Halo on Xbox. Like, the first time I got the Xbox 360, I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. Playing at a friend's house or whatever. I have to have one so I can play Halo. And I remember I read books, did all the extended media stuff. And then I was like, oh my God, they're doing a series. And then it's all right. And
it's fine.
And it's hard because then, I remember a friend watched it who had zero investment in any of the kind of the story, and I really enjoyed it. And I'm like, you are allowed to, like, but I was the monster. I was like, no, you can't enjoy it, it's not lore accurate.
I will say they did make a point of only hiring writers who had never played the game.
There was, and I read something as well, it went through something like 260 script drafts or something. I was like, and it had been in, I mean, the thing it should have been is the Neil Blomkamp should have, have you seen the Neil Blomkamp kind of, he did the kind of the advert for Halo 3? That was amazing. I was like, just give him a film. He's same with the Alien films. Give him like, come on, give him an Alien film. He wants to do it.
Give him something. Give him something that he can actually do. Don't just throw nonsense at him. Just let him in. Just let him have a good time. We'll all enjoy it.
Exactly. Yeah, I felt a bit like that with The Creator. I was like, I really Gareth Edwards. I really wanted to love that film as similar as.
I did.
Did you like it?
I really liked The Creator. Yeah.
Yeah.
I also I like John David Washington, so I'm kind of. Like, I was already sold, and then it was like, but
it's great. I think it's a good film. I think yeah, I think as a sci-fi fan, it does deliver. I think I just maybe didn't love it as much as I wanted to love it. Maybe. If
So I kind of ignored it when it first came out. I was like, I don't know what it is. I don't really care. I'm off. And then a friend got it on 4K, and he was like, "Do you want to come over and watch it?" And I was like, "Yeah, cool." And he's got a good cinema setup at home, so I saw it as good as it could be, and I was just like, "This is excellent. This is exactly what it needs to be. This is a sci-fi film that wasn't reliant on an established franchise.
yeah,
It's different in its way. It created technology, but in a very mundane, yeah, people have got bionic limbs, but they're still just hoofing shit out of the river, and it's like, oh yeah, it's nice, normal, but with the added benefit of this technology. And I was like, oh, I like this. I like this a lot. I think it had the same vibe that like Elysium had for me, where it was like, oh, it's shit. It's still shit, but it's the future. Great.
Yeah. It's kind of like grounded sci-fi, isn't it? Where it's a bit, it's that same lineage as kind of Alien, right? It's sort of sci-fi, but it's a bit shit,
dirty,
and a bit dirty and a bit roachy and kind of bang. It's banged around a bit. It's not kind of like techno futurism where everyone's having a great
My dad said that about Alien when I first asked him when I was young and hadn't seen it. I was like, what's this Alien film? And it's like, oh, it's good because it's the first time you've ever seen a spaceship that's shit.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, sick. That sounds great.
It's not Cloud City, is it? I mean, and I love Star Wars.
No.
And that's what's great about it. It's very relatable, isn't it? Because everyone forgets that, isn't it? The kind of the guys in the first Alien film were just truckers. They're like, hauling.
They are you and I, that well, not you and I, but they're real workers. They're not.
Yeah, they're real people. Yeah. Arty-farty creatives. They got dirt under their fingernails.
They got calluses.
Yeah, exactly. But it's that kind of what's the word for it? It's just a bit more knocked about and lived in. Lived in, that's the word.
Lived in's good, yeah. No, nice. So we skirted with Star Wars and talking about that stuff, but what is your controversial opinion on a famous film?
I'm going to go out on a limb here. I think Pulp Fiction is only good for one watch, if I'm honest with you. I think that, as I'm testing the waters here, I think it's, without being too heavy-handed on the subject, I think Pulp Fiction is sort of a thing that everybody who likes film or gets into film or is a bit of a film nerd has to go through. They have to watch it at like 13 to 16, think it's the best film in the world.
Yes.
And then never watch it ever again. I think go through that. And I think Tarantino is amazing. And I think it is, when it came out, it was very revolutionary. And, it was a real bold take and a kind of shot in the arm, I think, for filmmaking. But I've never rewatched that film ever. I think I tried to, and it's like, oh, okay.
It's fine.
It's fine. It's okay. And it's not, it's sort of, they're just, I don't know. I think it's sort of, it's almost become like pastiche meme now of like, oh yeah, like kind of film bro, like, have you not seen Pulp Fiction sort of thing?
Yeah.
But I find it with a lot, and I do love Tarantino. I found it a bit with Hateful Eight as well, is that it was like, I watched it and I was like, that was a bit boring at points. I don't know if I can watch that again. You know what I mean?
You're in fine company for this opinion because I don't know what it is about Tarantino. I didn't like any of his films until I watched Death Proof.
Okay, yeah.
And then I loved Death Proof when it first came out. I watched it again yesterday or the day before, and the dialogue was so painful. I was like, oh, he's just so desperate to be cool that you're ruining your film by trying to be cool. And it's the same critique I had with Pulp Fiction, that it's like in 1993, 1994, whatever, when it first came out, no one had seen it before. And when I say it, I mean that style of filmmaking. It's done really well. I understand the hype, but I'm surprised people still refer to it as being as good as it is, because it's not that good. Like, who the fuck am I to say that? Obviously, like, I'm not an award-winning filmmaker. Well, I am an award-winning filmmaker, but not like Tarantino. And it feels very sort of like... I always found that Pulp Fiction was great, and this comes off as real film bro-y. If you're not a film fan, Pulp Fiction's great. You know?
Interesting, yeah.
If you don't know what he's referencing, Jackie Brown is great, but if you've watched any blaxploitation films, it's shit. And it's the same with like Reservoir Dogs. If you've watched Hong Kong cinema from the 90s and 80s, Reservoir Dogs is a bit bad. It's fine, it's okay. But if you've watched all of those other like Chow Yun-fat films and they're fucking wonderful, then they don't quite sit as well. And I feel like it's the same. Like across all of his films, if you've never seen what he's referencing, these are the best things to watch. If you haven't got time to go back and rewatch all the shitty film noirs and find all your favourite parts, just go watch Pulp Fiction. Just go watch Django Unchained if you haven't got time to go watch all the great like westerns.
Yeah.
But if you have seen those films, I don't know why we talk about those films, because I'm like, yeah, they're fine. Like they're fine. Like I wouldn't watch it again. I'd sooner go watch all of the war films I like than go watch Inglourious Bastards. It's fine.
Sure. And I think it's one of those things when you hit a Tarantino sort of seam that you, as you said, like if you haven't seen that sort of film before, it's very refreshing. And then you go, oh great, I'd say for me personally, out of the Tarantino films, the one I recently rewatched, both the Kill Bills. And that is one I would rewatch. I think that's kind of has a bit more spectacle to it, and it's a lot. I watched the second part recently, and I thought it was a lot more emotionally considered than the first time I watched it. I think I watched the first time, I was like, amazing! Like, you know, there's 88 people all fighting each other with like samurai swords, and the kind of the scenes with David Carradine and Uma Thurman at the end with the kid. It's really quite emotional and really quite it's really great character acting, and it's really kind of it's quite stagey in some ways, insofar as it's a family. When you break it down, that second film is kind of just a family drama between and it really works. And it's like for a Tarantino film, there was an emotional core I think you don't get in a lot of his other films, if that makes sense. So for me, that
I would completely agree. I would say that Kill Bill 2 is the least Tarantino at that point. No, I think that's the least Tarantino of all of his films, because he doesn't seem like he's trying to be cool.
Yes,
you know, and it becomes honest, and it's like he is a good writer, because things like I love True Romance. That's one of my favorite films. Wrote it, didn't direct it. It's excellent. Natural Born Killers is a very good film. Wrote, didn't direct. From Dusk Till Dawn. Wrote, didn't direct. He's a very good writer. But I think as you know, when you see someone who is the writer, director, and producer, you're like, oh, nobody is telling you to wind it in. You're being allowed in all three creative outputs to just go full bore. And for Tarantino, that's worked.
Yeah.
You know, whatever. But sometimes I'm like, nah, you need someone to sort of go, are you sure you need another reference to feet?
Yeah. Do you have another close-up, man? Come on, you know what I mean?
How about these women aren't exploited?
Yeah. Yeah.
How about you give the women something to do other than look pretty?
Or be like violently
attacked.
Or violently violent, really. Yeah, sort of.
Yeah.
On a complete rampage.
But yeah, I mean, one of the ones that I rewatch a lot of films that I didn't like. I watch them more than I watch films I do like, because I always double check to make sure that I wasn't just in a bad mood that day. And Once Upon a Time, jealousy is also a strong one. If I watch a film, I'm like, this is shit, because I'm jealous that they got to make it and I didn't. But I'll admit that I'm wrong. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood was one that when I first saw it, I was like, this is a pile of shit. I don't know why anyone cares about this. And I said that to my dad.
Do you not like it?
Yeah.
I did like it.
Love it now. Now I love it. Like, my dad said to me, like, go rewatch it. like, you're wrong. He's like, I know why you think this, but go rewatch it. And I put it on. The first time I watched it, I think I turned it off when he went off to Italy. I was like, I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
Like, this is boring. This is slow. The second time I watched it, I was like, oh my God, this is beautiful. I love this film. And now I think between that and Django, like, they're my favorite. If I have to watch a Tarantino film, it'd be that or Django Unchained.
Yeah, Django's great. I remember I was sort of doing like A-level film studies when Django came out, and that was like probably the first one I could properly. I don't know. It was that kind of time where I was like, wow, this is It just hit at such a great time for me. I think where I could go and see it in the cinema and enjoy it. And because I was a little too young to go and see Inglourious Bastards. So it was like, oh great, I can go and experience a Tarantino film now. And it was kind of, it felt a bit grown up and a bit more, not in, as we were saying earlier on, in a kind of like cerebral way, but kind of like, oh yeah, I can kind of go in and get in on this club that everyone else managed to do and watch something that's a bit, transgressive and cool and edgy. But I think a lot of them sort of struggle, personal opinion, they're hard to rewatch because a lot of them are quite long as well. You can't really hop on, Hateful Eight, for example, for light viewing, because it's like similar with like later Scorsese films, like Killer. You're not gonna like, I tell you what, let's stick on Killers of the Flower Moon. Oh,
well, we got a quick 4 hours. Irishman.
Stick that on. Yeah, or maybe we can watch 2 hours each night for the next 2 days or something.
Let's watch Voyage to Italy all week. Was it the 6-hour documentary on Italian neorealism? And it's like, all right, Scorsese, I'm in. All right, but this is long.
You're not leaving. You're stuck. You probably could go. You could go probably at least twice to Italy on a plane in that.
Yeah. Should have just done that.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay, so you've only seen Pulp Fiction once.
Well, to be fair, in order to have this opinion, I have tried to rewatch
at least twice.
So at least I've watched it twice. I think it was in that the kind of time jump from having that, watching it at like 15 and being like, this is amazing, and to then watching it maybe like 10 or so years later when you're like, oh, I can actually, what, it's good, but not for me.
I do think there are some films though that obviously when they come out, they're great when they first come out, and whatever age you watch them when they first come out, that's that. But then after their initial release, Fear and Loathing, American Psycho, Pulp Fiction, they're films you should watch when you are 15 or 16 and then move on with your life. Don't glamorize it. Don't. Fear and Loathing, became my fucking personality for a while. Like, don't do that. Like, just enjoy it as a 15-year-old and then move on. And it's I think there are certain films that you do need to just sort of go like, when you hit 15, a bit like with your dad being like, right, Untouchables, you're gonna have to watch Citizen Kane, Godfather. You don't look like a fool if you've not seen these. I think when you turn 15, like, a parent should sit you down and be like, Virgin Suicides, Pulp Fiction, Fear and Loathing, American Psycho, get them on. Go watch them.
Yeah.
Watch them, enjoy them, and then realise that's it. Don't go do them again.
Yeah. Yeah. It is interesting. I think that is like a really cool subgenre of films, which is like films that most people watch between the ages of 15 and 16 that weirdly become their personalities for a little bit. American Psycho, is I think it's because it's that first time where you watch something, I would argue, that probably has a very strong creative direction, usually a very strong director's kind of vision on it that is very different, and you're like, wow, okay, this is kind of interesting. Like, films can be like this. They're not just entertainment. They can be a bit transgressive, and similar with Fear and Loathing. Is I remember my friendship group watching that at 15 and be like, it's amazing,
Yeah.
it's so cool, you know. And it's those three films.
Drugs are rad. Yes, drugs are rad, but stop when you get 18. Just stop doing them after 18.
Stop, come on,
your body will thank you.
But it's weird, is those three films. That'd be quite a good film festival, wouldn't it? Or like a kind of a sort of screening series, is films that everyone thinks are cool when you're 15. But it's interesting when people, because I have a few friends who've watched those films recently, and it's interesting when people come to them a lot late. They come to them in a very different way, and they're not always for the best. You know, I had someone recently who watched American Horror Story, Freudian slip there. Patrick Bateman, American Psycho. American Psycho recently, and it was like, it was okay. I remember like people being so obsessed with that. You know, it's a very kind of...
I can't watch it again because I've seen it far too many times. Like, that's how much I watched it as a 18-year-old, 16-year-old, 17-year-old.
Because it's edgy, and I think that's exactly what you want to watch when you're 15. It's something that's a bit edgy. Yeah. It's like not your parents... Well, it is. It literally is your parents' movies. But like it's something that you get to choose, and is a bit, is this a bit naughty? You know what I mean? It's interesting.
I just realised as well, it's interesting that they're all American literature of a certain period of time. Like, does that, I mean, with your history and your degree, like, there must have been a period where, obviously, Bret Ellis and Hunter Thompson and all those kind of, like, other writers where they're books that I think you should read in your 20s.
Yeah.
Like, you know, and I've got a friend who only just like recently discovered Bukowski, and he's late 30s, and like when he talks to me about it, I'm like, yeah, Ham on Rye is a really good book, but as a as a man who's nearly 40, I don't look at it the same way. I actually am a bit like, Chuck needs to chill the fuck out and grow up. You know, like it's a very different, you know, those books you read when you're 20, those films you watch when you're 15, they shouldn't be experienced at any other time, because then unfortunately you look at it like, ugh.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Come on.
I totally agree. I think, you know, without sounding too highfalutin about it, I think that's one of the beautiful things about art, is that you can, when you access it, I think massively changes the way you perceive it. You know, partly because it was my degree. You know, I read a lot of beat poetry. You know, Jack Kerouac, Ginsberg.
Yeah,
Kerouac is held up as, you know, On the Road is held up as this great sort of novel that. Exactly, I agree with you. But it's one of those things where, you know, you read that between the ages of sort of 17 and 21, similar like Catcher in the Rye, those type of books. They're made for that time. You can sort of realize afterwards that Kerouac was sort of like more or less having his parents pay for him to dick about and write. That you kind of go, you know, he's not as cool. But it's that same thing, isn't it, with the films we've been chatting about? Is that you access them, I think, is as important as how good they are, right? Because it speaks to you in a very different way. Similarly, about Star Wars, I had a friend who went, a close friend who sort of knew I was a Star Wars fan, and was like, I'm gonna rewatch all the Star Wars, and it was so interesting seeing him, you know, in his late 20s. Go through these films, you know, and he did them in the Grindhouse Cut way, in New Hope, Empire, go back and did that way. And it was, he enjoyed it, but it's a different thing. I think that's the magic about film, is that when it hits you at the right time, it's imprinted on you, isn't it? And you can't really, I don't know, it's the kind of, I don't know, it's one of those questions you can never ask. If I'd have seen Return of the Jedi at my age now, would I say, oh god, fucking Ewoks, you know?
Yeah.
You know what I mean,
this is going on a bit, isn't it?
This is going on a bit. Jesus, you know.
But you say that, like my partner Kirsty, I think she said she'd never seen the original Star Wars films, so I was like, oh, they're great fun. Let's put them on. I put on New Hope. They hadn't escaped the Death Star at the beginning. And I sort of looked over, and she looked very bored. And I was like, do you want to turn this off? She's like, this is bad. And I'm like, this is really fucking boring. I don't think I can sit through this. And it's funny that, like, she was like, I don't care. Like, I don't care what's happening. And as someone who's like, I loved these films, even I was like, yeah, you're right. I don't care either. This isn't good. I don't think I can sit through this again. Bumble, not right now. And let me get the cat out, otherwise they'll be on the recording. So it becomes very difficult when watching those films and thinking, like, would I care? Would I still care about that film? But that's the beauty of watching loads of films from a young age.
It is, yeah. Yeah, you never have to wonder whether like you'd have liked Ewoks or not.
Well, I do think that about Jurassic Park. Jurassic Park came out when I was 5, and I remember knowing at 5, going like, who's Steven Spielberg? He seems I want to do what he does. He makes films. I want to make films. And Hook was the first film I saw at the cinema. Spielberg and Jurassic Park were the first time I was aware of what a director was. And then since the age of 5, it's the thing I'd known I've wanted to do. So it feels really weird that it's like, oh, imagine if like I wasn't old enough and I missed Jurassic Park by 1 year. And then, like, I didn't see it at the cinema. My parents said it was too spooky for me. But I remember seeing the ads and being like, dinosaurs, they're rad.
Yeah.
But let's say, like, I was 3 when it came out, and then I wasn't cognitively aware of films and stuff until 96, 97. Would I have been as interested? Would that have triggered the thing that made me go, filmmaking? That's the career. That's the lucrative career I want to get into.
It is. I guess that's one of the beautiful things about it, isn't it? Is like where it is when you watch these things, how they shape you and why they shape you. You know what I mean?
Well, that leads us into the final question, which is, what have you been watching recently?
What I've been watching recently, I am a proud owner of a Cineworld Unlimited card. So I absolutely wear the plastic off that. I sort of joke to people, I'm like, I'm just going to see how many I can watch in a month, to maybe try and trigger some sort of financial downfall. Hopefully not, because I love the cinemas. But like, it's great because it forces you to watch more films and go to the cinema and kind of engage with the cinema a bit more than you would normally. So I've watched a lot recently. I watched Bone Temple, 28 years later, Anaconda, which I really, really enjoyed, actually, the remake or the reboot with Jack Black and Paul Rudd, and Rental Family with Brendan Fraser, which I loved. I thought it was really, it's not a film, again, I think this is one of the great things about having a limitless card that means that basically films are free now in my head, that is a film I wouldn't have necessarily have come to.
No, it's not necessary for the big screen.
No, and that's fine. But it's very beautifully crafted film, and it's one of those films that I'd probably watched on like a streaming platform 18 months down the line and probably really enjoyed when I want like a palate cleanser from more the genre stuff. But I also rewatched a film I again really loved when I was a teenager, which is Battle Royale.
Oh, nice! Yeah,
I rewatched that, and again, really, held up. Luckily, held up that was kind of in the wheelhouse of 16-year-old Jack films. And
I'm glad you said it held up because I just bought the Blu-ray of it.
Oh, really?
So yeah, I was like, I haven't seen that in ages. I'm going to pick up the Blu-ray, and then there was that fear of like, oh, what if I think it's shit now?
Yeah,
I hope I don't.
It's great. It's really good, and it again, it's one of those moments where it's like someone watches it after they watch Hunger Games or something, and like, oh, this is basically and it's I think what's great about it is that kind of like 90s Japanese cinema thing, which is like, we are going to just show how horrible human beings are and go full tilt for this in a way that Western cinema probably wouldn't now. Maybe they would now, but with the kind of X-rated, how lucrative kind of horror is at the moment. But it's just really raw, and it's a big swing, and it's just it's cool. It's a really great film, and I remember watching it. I watched it a lot as well when I was younger, and it was great to kind of come back to it and go, this is really cool. And you see all the actors. I think one of the actresses ended up being in Kill Bill. She was what's her name? The one with the
the mace. Yeah,
The mace
I can't remember what her name is, but I remember her being in it.
Yeah.
I think when I first saw Kill Bill or Battle Royale, I don't know which one I saw first, but I remember thinking like, oh, it's that girl. Also, like Takeshi Kitano, like I recently went back and watched like what is it, Violent Cops on the Teen and maybe Boiling Point. No.
Okay.
And they're all sort of like him being a nasty bastard films, essentially.
Yes,
and
he's very good at that, isn't he?
But he's a comedian. Like
Really?
that's what he's in Japan. He was known as like, was it like Beat Kitano or something? Like he's known as this like comedian, like funny guy. And then he did these like horrible tough guy films where he showed he was a real nasty piece of shit. And then he did Battle Royale and the Zatoichi film, and everyone was like, "Oh yeah." Now he's done it. He's done such a great turn, and you're like, "All right, fucking hell."
He's cool.
Well
man.
done.
It's cool. It's
Yeah.
okay. Yeah.
I guess it's a bit like Eric Bana. Like in Australia, he's known as like a comedian, and then he did Chopper, and everyone was like,
Yeah.
"A comedian's going to play fucking Mark Brendan Reed, get off." And it was like, "Oh shit, he was really good at it."
Yeah. I said, yeah. I mean, if they can do it, they can do it. I mean, I think I want to watch more Japanese film and really get. It sounds such like a film thing to say.
No. But yes,
I watched Takeshi Miike is obviously like again a big Japanese horror icon, and I watched Graveyard of Honor.
I haven't seen that.
It's wild. It's a remake of a 1972 film. It's like a Yakuza film. So I guess it's like the equivalent of sort of like a sort of old school Scorsese sort of but it's like Takeshi Miike doing it, so it's just wild. And it's like I remember I was sat there like kind of like with a few friends like, oh, well, what's your film, like let's pick a film, like we did like a film night every Friday, and it was like, oh, we'll pick this, and I was like the first 20 minutes I was like, this is obscene. This is like, so bad. It was like,
just put on Visitor Q, make it feel less weird.
Yeah, exactly. And it was just a bit like, wow, that was quite. I think it's like maybe 2 hours 40 film. It felt like a 2 hours 40 film, and I was just like, by the end of it, I was like, oh, there's another murder. Oh, there's another kind of obscene thing that's happening. Oh, there's another thing, and it's like, oh god.
I've got one here that I haven't watched yet. Shinjuku Triad Society.
That looks cool.
And that's a Takeshi Miike one.
It's probably
I have
horrendous violence.
Probably. It's the first of 3 of the critically acclaimed Triad Society trilogy, followed by Rainy Dog and Ley Lines.
Okay.
So
stick it on.
Move the camera so you can watch the
TV. Yeah. Maybe I need to get. I've had a Takeshi Miike drought. I'll have to come back and.
Yeah, do that. Yeah, that's what you need. More Takeshi Miike in your life.
Miike, yeah.
I will say, when you say you need to watch more Japanese cinema in your life, you're talking to a man who tried to learn Japanese so I could watch it without the subtitles,
Amazing.
So I could get fully immersed in it. And didn't do too well. I learned some Japanese. Yeah. I bought mangas, like kids manga books in Japanese, because here's a weird one for you. If you have an Amazon Prime account and then create a login for like Amazon.com but Amazon.jp, you'll go to there, sign in with your account and just put your normal address. They will ship to you either on your Prime or very cheap.
Wow.
So I was able to order Japanese language mangas to my house, and I don't think I paid like that much for postage.
Wow.
So it was weird.
Amazon Japan hack. That's pretty good.
There you go, everyone. Get on it. Actually, no, don't, because I don't want them to figure it out. Then I got to buy it.
Yeah, exactly. They're like, what's going on?
But I bought like kids Japanese books, and then just I learned hiragana, and I was like, okay, I'm going to learn how to read them. So then I got to get my vocabulary up, and then I would watch Japanese film and TV shows without subtitles and see if I could just get the gist. A lot easier on TV than film. And I did it to a point where I could kind of like, I kind of understood what was happening, but no nuance. So I was just as lost as if I just wasn't watching the subtitles. So I thought, well, this is pointless. And now I'll hear the occasional word and I'll be like, I know that one. I know that one word.
Ow.
Yeah. Neko, cat, got it.
Yeah.
The cat did it. No, didn't say Neko. That's like, I got nothing.
Yeah.
It's Japanese films. They're one of my favorites. So
yeah, I mean, there's the classics like your Kurosawa and Ran and Throne of Blood, stuff like that. Yeah,
Kurosawa is beautiful. But yeah, I also really enjoy the other Kurosawa. But he did, was it Cure and Pulse, and then he did Chime recently, which is only 45 minutes. Oh, it's so good.
Okay,
it's real good. Check those out. But yeah, it's Japanese cinema. I think Japanese cinema and South Korean cinema have a real like nihilistic view that they can do misery and that they don't feel bad about leaving you fucking feeling shit afterwards.
Yeah.
Whereas, as you were saying earlier, like Hollywood could do it now, but very much in that Vanishing way. Like the original Vanishing film, miserable. The Hollywood remake, that's directed by the same director, actually got a happy ending in comparison. Because they're like, oh, Hollywood audiences don't want to finish a film feeling really shit about their lives. And it's like, oh, but the filmmaker doesn't owe you a happy ending. Like, that we can feel bad, acknowledge that, and then move on.
Yeah, that catharsis,
Yeah, but who knows? But it's good that you're going to the cinema. I like that you're a regular cinema goer. I think it is important because they'll just not exist soon.
Yeah, and I love it. I think it's a real kind of for me anyway. It's like a moment where you're forced to, in a kind of meditative way, like you are kind of forced to just switch off and be present in a way that a lot of you don't really get a chance to do nowadays. Everyone's sort of, not to sound like a old person, but like everyone is on their phone a lot, and I'm guilty of it myself. And when you have those moments where you can, turn your phone off and not have to talk to anyone and not be kind of hassled, it is lovely and it's great. And that, for me, that is as much a big part of it than kind of seeing it on the kind of format it's intended to do. And you are kind of, I don't know, you are always with sort of streaming. I think when you've got the ability to pause it and do something else, or get a coffee, or get a tea, or go to the toilet, you will do it because you can. And I think it was actually Tarantino talking about it. Is that I'm probably badly paraphrasing, but saying that that's the kind of the unbridled version of how the director wants you to view that film, because you have to view it in the way that they're viewing it. You can't decide to turn it off, or you're kind of surrendering your agency to the filmmaker at that point and go, okay, I'm sat here for say 90 minutes, show me what you got and I'm all yours. And I think that's really lovely. It's a dying art, I think.
There's who is it? I don't know which. I think it might be Paul Thomas Anderson. None of his films on DVD or Blu-ray have scene selection.
Wow.
I think it's him, because it's like, no, watch my film.
Yeah.
If you have to stop at any point, you have to start again. You can't just pick and choose where you want to go. And I was like, that's wonderful. But that's also like when chefs say, like, I don't want salt and pepper on the tables because it should be seasoned enough.
Yeah,
and it's like, well, yes, but sometimes, sometimes I need to genuinely pause it for a minute.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I wonder how he's going to feel about, his films being turned into like 800-part TikToks with voiceover. I don't get those. Have you seen those? The ones where it's like it's like the AI voiceover of like, it's like a clip from The Green Mile, but then it's like the character's voice narrating what he's doing in the scene. While it's kind of too meta for me. I'm like, this is just kind of, and then I did this. I got I'm like, oh man.
I can't engage with anything film related on TikTok or Instagram. I just get so angry so quickly. I'm like, no, just watch it. What's wrong with you?
No more clips.
I'm not even 40, and I'm acting like a 60-year-old. just watch the film.
Oh my!
Good film.
Yells at cloud. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That is me. That's me. All right, well, it's been great chatting to you. I hope you've had a good time reminiscing about films.
It's been fantastic. Yeah,
do you want to do a shout out for anything? Do you want to shout out your pod or shout out for the documentaries that are coming out? Or
so I'd love to shout out First Frights at First Frights on Instagram and TikTok, which is a horror podcast where I interview guests about the very first film that scared them. So tune in on that.
Do it. It's good. I will link it in the show notes. So if you're listening and just want to randomly easily click, that'll be available to you. So yes. So thank you very much for coming on. And I hope to speak to you soon.
Yeah, speak soon.
This has been a Lovable Rogue Productions podcast. Thank you to everyone that listened. If you want to help out your life in film, then download it, like it, share it, and give the pod a follow. I didn't realise till starting this that a download is the way they measure success and not just a listen. So, listening means nothing. Make sure you check out my guests on their socials, which will be in the description of the episode. Take a look at my letterboxd. I've made a list of all the films that have been mentioned on the pod. There's fucking hundreds. So you can find some good films there. There are some good ones. There's some fucking weird ones, and I love them. Quick shout out to some of the podcasts I'm listening to. Caliber 9 from Outer Space. That's Robin Joe's. That's really good. And then The Villain Was Right. That's a great fun. Check that out. If you really want to be a mensch, give me that money. There's a link in the description. It'll explain it all. But a download and a share is excellent, and I actually appreciate that a lot more than you'd think. We currently have no sponsors, but I am open to them. I'll shill anything. I don't care. This has been a Lovable Rogue production. Thank you for listening.